From WBKO News, local, first, now. This is WBKO News at 6.
Breaking news entering our newsroom right now. There has been an officer-involved shooting and an officer has been hit. We can confirm from Bowling Green Police one officer has been shot. This is at the Car Mart on 1930 Russellville Road. Bowling Green Police do tell us one officer has been hit. They are airlifting the officer to a hospital. Police could not confirm that officer's condition at this time. We do have a crew there on scene gathering all of the details right now firsthand. Officer involved shooting again at 1930 Russellville Road. They are redirecting traffic and they do have parts of that road blocked off. We have updates on our website and we do again have a crew on scene. Reporter Sarah Phipps and Derek Parham are on scene right now to tell us what they know. So Sarah, what can you tell us right now?
That's right, Allie. As of right now, the only details we have confirmed by Bowling Green Police's Ronnie Ward is that this was an officer-involved shooting and that an officer was hit. He said at this point it is being passed off to Kentucky State Police. Now, police are going to have the road blocked off from at least St. Charles Street to what I can tell is probably the Papa John's, but honestly just a little bit further. Now, I'm going to let Derek get a good shot. We have got multiple units on scene: WKU Police, Bowling Green Police, Kentucky State Police. Pretty sure we saw the Bowling Green Fire Department truck and a Med Center EMS. Now, like I said, at this point, details are a little spotty. We are still waiting for a lot of confirmation. All we have confirmed right now is an officer-involved shooting on Russellville Road and that the officer was hit. We are going to hang out here, talk with police, see what we can't find out, and we are going to give you updates with more information as we get it. Reporting in Bowling Green, Sarah Phipps, WBKO News.
Thank you so much, Sarah. And we will continue to follow this throughout the 6 o'clock tonight. The information is already up on our website, WBKO.com. We are working to get more details and know the condition of that officer. Now at 10, what we know tonight about the officer-involved shooting here in Bowling Green that sent a Bowling Green police officer to a hospital. And we hear from one resident who lives near where the shooting happened as community members fear for their safety and loved ones tonight.
From WBKO News, local, first, now. This is WBKO News at 10.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Allie Hennard. We continue to follow the breaking news of an officer-involved shooting in Bowling Green. It happened on 1930 Russellville Road just after 5:30 tonight. WBKO reporter Sarah Phipps joins us live now in studio after being on the scene earlier for hours. Sarah, what else can you tell us about what happened?
Well, Allie, we don't have many details at this time from authorities. However, we do have confirmation that both Bowling Green and Kentucky State Police that this was an officer-involved shooting and the officer was wounded. We were on the scene just after 5:30 p.m. and saw multiple units, including Bowling Green, WKU, and Kentucky State Police, as well as what appeared to be a Med Center EMS ambulance and a Bowling Green fire truck, many of which have cleared out as of right now. Now, we did hear from the Barron County Sheriff's Office that the officer is in surgery and in critical condition, though that was not confirmed by Kentucky State Police. Police had the road blocked off from St. Charles Street to approximately Robinson Avenue, redirecting traffic at Taqueria y Birria Jalisco. When we spoke with onlookers from the businesses along Russellville Road, they said they didn't hear or see anything major, only looked up and saw heavy police presence. Now, we did contact Kentucky State Police headquarters in Frankfort for more information, and we're told they will have an update tomorrow morning. We're going to continue to follow up with KSP on this, and we'll update the story on our website, WBKO.com, as soon as new details are available. In studio, Sarah Phipps, WBKO News.
Thank you so much, Sarah. And we now go to WBKO's Derek Parham, who was also at the scene speaking to residents on their thoughts about what happened and recent gun violence hitting very close to home.
After heavy police presence from an officer-involved shooting on Russellville Road, members of the community are afraid for their safety and for the safety of their loved ones. With rising crime and the senseless nature of many shootings nationwide, Jesse Williams, an employee at WKU and a Russellville Road resident, says that he's fed up with the violence and hopes to see a change soon.
It should make everybody feel scared, no matter what community you in, because there are so many crimes being committed. And, you know, like it's happening every day, and it's time for everybody to pull together and get it together. Life is too short. We got kids coming up. You know, we don't want nothing to happen to our loved ones. This man probably had a family to go home to. We don't know what might happen to him, but the violence just needs to stop.
Details on the shooting are still unclear as we wait for more information from KSP about who was involved and what their condition is. We'll keep you updated here and on our website at WBKO.com as we learn more. Reporting in Bowling Green, Derek Parham, WBKO News.
Thank you so much, Derek. And tonight we're also hearing from our Governor Andy Beshear, who has heard about the incident in Bowling Green. He said in part, quote, "Please join Brittany and me in prayer for this officer, their family, and fellow officers." Again, we will continue to update you when more information is released from authorities. We continue to follow the breaking news of former President Donald Trump's latest indictment. Joining us now is WBKO's Washington correspondent Josh Roltenberg. Josh, thanks for being here with us tonight.
Thanks for having me, Allie.
Okay, first off, we learned tonight that Trump has been indicted again by special counsel Jack Smith. So what can you tell us is in the indictment?
Yeah, Allie, look, this is unprecedented. You're talking about the peaceful transition of power, and in this 45-page indictment are 4 different charges against the former president. You're talking about conspiracy to defraud the United States, conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding, obstruction of an attempt to obstruct an official proceeding, and conspiracy against rights. What special counsel Jack Smith is alleging is the former president had every right to say what he wanted to say as far as talking out against the election, even to falsely claim that it was stolen. But once Trump put a number of things, once he challenged these in court, and he was losing time and time again, once he lost, Jack Smith says that's where it needed to stop. And the fact that it didn't stop there, that's where Trump knowingly was spreading lies, and that's ultimately where a number of these charges stem from as far as trying to overturn the 2020 election. And then when you're talking about the January 6th insurrection at the Capitol, this is obviously talking about an obstruction of an official proceeding of Congress, and also the pressure campaign that the former president allegedly had with his own Vice President Mike Pence to try to get him from stopping to certify the presidential election.
Well, you mentioned there are multiple charges within this indictment. So can you break down those charges for us, and what charges is Trump facing?
Yeah, so you're talking about conspiracy and obstruction. This is getting to the heart of America's democracy when you're talking about carrying out an election. It's very interesting to say that Donald Trump, in his defense, is saying that this is election interference when ultimately this is what Jack Smith is charging the former president with when it comes to election interference. When you're talking about conspiracy against rights, there are 81 million Americans that voted for Joe Biden to be president. And when you're talking about a conspiracy against rights, what Jack Smith is saying that former President Donald Trump is subverting the rights of the 81 million Americans that ultimately voted for Joe Biden to be president. And so ultimately that is one of the charges that he's facing. Conspiracy to defraud the United States is, again, talking when Trump is spreading these lies, even knowing the truth behind the scenes that indeed the election was not stolen.
Okay, well, you did mention special counsel Jack Smith, things that he has said about Trump and said it within this indictment. So what else is he saying about this? Is he speaking out?
Yeah, he did hold a press conference earlier today. He didn't take any questions, but what he said as far as January 6th is concerned is he called it an unprecedented assault on the seat of American democracy. Described in the indictment, it was fueled by lies. He also said that the law enforcement officials that were at the U.S. Capitol that day are heroes, not just for defending the building itself, but for American democracy. He also talked about the 6 alleged co-conspirators that have not been named in this indictment, and we'll wait to see when those names ultimately spill out. But he said that the investigation is ongoing, not just against them, but anyone that is alleged to have taken part in this scheme.
All right, so when is Trump expected back in court?
Thursday, here in Washington, D.C., the former president will, like all the other indictments that we've seen, he will show up, he will be formally arrested, he will be processed. He will appear before an Obama-appointed judge, Judge Tanya Chutkan, who has been outspoken in denouncing the January 6th insurrection. Trump will likely plead not guilty. He'll be released on his own recognizance, and then like we've seen with the other 2 indictments, Trump will likely fly back to wherever he's coming from, and then he'll likely address address his supporters, and he'll talk about what is an alleged weaponization of the Department of Justice, which is exactly what Trump and his campaign are saying tonight. And so ultimately, we'll wait to see what happens. Special counsel Jack Smith has said that he wants this to be a speedy trial, and whether or not that means that the trial will be held prior to the 2024 election, that's the main question left, because I think a number of voters would like to know one way or another if Trump is indeed guilty of everything that Jack Smith is saying that he's guilty of prior to voting in the 2024 election, because Trump right now is the favorite to be the Republican nominee.
Yeah, certainly will be something interesting to follow up on that timeline of the trial. Well, from our nation's capital, WBKO's Washington correspondent Josh Roltenberg. Josh, thanks again for always being with us.
You got it.
Thanks, David. Well, polls closed 6 p.m. local time. That means some polls located in the Eastern time zone have been closed for about an hour.
We now take a look at the latest results in the governor's primary. First, in the Democrat race, we have incumbent Governor Andy Beshear, Pepe Martin, and Jeffrey Young. Those results show Governor Beshear running away with a vote, 95% so far. Jeffrey Young 3%, Pepe Martin only 2%.
And now we take a look at the Republican race. Those include Bob DeVore, Robbie Smith, Dennis Ormerod, and Johnny Rice. And then Alan Keck, Mike Herman, David Cooper, and Jacob Clark. Daniel Cameron, Ryan Quarles, Kelly Craft, and Eric Dieters. And those results you can see on your screen there. Daniel Cameron taking 44% of those votes. Ryan Quarles, 24%. Kelly Craft right behind at 19%. And Eric Dieters at 5%.
We now go to reporter Kelly Dean, who was in Louisville at Daniel Cameron's election party. How's it going, Kelly?
That's right, Allie and Jean. I am here at the Galt House in Louisville, where Daniel Cameron's election watch party has officially kicked off about 30 minutes ago. The crowd slowly trickling in. Go ahead, Sarah, and pan over and get a shot at the crowd. These are Daniel Cameron supporters, and they're hoping that this party turns into more of a celebration as Daniel Cameron hopes to take on Democratic incumbent Governor Andy Beshear in November. Now, a little bit of background on Daniel Cameron and the campaign he's been running the past several months. Cameron is the only candidate that has been endorsed by former President Donald Trump. Cameron also working with Mitch McConnell as his general counsel back when he was in the Senate, working for him in the Senate. Cameron's probably biggest competitor, Kelly Craft, and both Craft and Cameron launching attack commercial ads against each other throughout this primary election. Cameron considering himself the pro-life candidate and also the candidate for law and order, and he's hoping that those qualities really set him over the edge in order for him to face Beshear come November. Now, we will be at the watch party all night long as those results unfold, and we will have live reaction from Cameron as well as the crowd later on tonight. For now, live in Louisville, Kelly Dean, back to you guys.
Thanks, Kelly. Well, now we go to reporter Isaac Calvert, who is live at Kelly Craft's election party in Lexington. Hey, Isaac, how's it going there?
Hey, Gene. Well, it is starting to get pretty full in here, as you can see. Quite the crowd here. Obviously, it was not as packed as it was about an hour ago when doors opened. And Kelly Craft, right before we went on air, did walk in. She was greeting supporters earlier, just kind of going around, making her rounds, saying hi to everybody. It was quite the scene here when she came in. A loud round of applause came through. Some results have begun to roll in. Kraft is currently trailing to both Daniel Cameron and Ryan Quarles in Jefferson and Fayette County. Jefferson County is the home of Louisville, Fayette County and Lexington, two of the biggest counties in Kentucky. Kraft is currently trailing in. A lot of it was absentee votes, so it's still really early. But one Kraft supporter in particular that is here tonight. She came all the way from our neck of the woods in South Central Kentucky, all the way to support her childhood friend, win, lose, or draw.
I grew up with Kelly, so I'm really pulling for her to win tonight, so I'm hopeful. So I'm here supporting my friend from a long way back. I've known her all my life, and she's got the integrity, the values, and the right drive to get things done, so I hope hopefully she'll win.
Now, Harder and Kraft both graduated from Glasgow High School in 1980 together. She says seeing someone from her hometown on this stage means everything to her and her hometown. Obviously, Kelly Craft is here in the building. A lot going on right now. We'll keep you updated on our website, WBKO.com, and on my social media accounts at Isaac Calvert TV. Be sure to tune in to both of those, and I'll provide an update later on social media. For right now, reporting from the Campbell House in Lexington for WBKO News, I'm Isaac Calvert.
Thank you, Isaac. Now let's check on some other key primary races.
First is the state agriculture commissioner. The Democratic candidates are Sierra Enlow and Michael Malone. And those results you can see on your screen. Michael Malone, 36% of those votes. Sierra Enlow at 64%, leading the pack there.
And for the Republican race, those running are Richard Heath and Jonathan Schell. Those results are Jonathan Heath well in advance, 61% over Richard Heath. And we just got word that Governor Andy Beshear has been declared the winner of this year's primary. Joining us now in studio to break down other primary races is WBKO's Brennan Crane. Brennan, what's different about these races compared to the ones we've already discussed?
Yeah, thanks, Gene. When it comes to these next races I'm about to talk about, the Democratic candidates have already been decided since only one ran for each office, but there are still some candidates on the Republican side. First off is Secretary of State. On the Republican side, we've got Michael Adams, Stephen Nipper, and Alan Maracle. Here's the results so far. Looks like Adams has been declared that winner, 69% of the vote with 21,718 votes. And again, Stephen Nipper with 22% of that vote, and Alan Maracle 9% of that vote. And as for the Democratic candidate for Secretary of State, Charles Wheatley will automatically advance to the next general election later this year due to being the only Democrat running for the office. Now let's look at the treasurer's race. 3 people are running in the Republican primary. Those are Andrew Cooper-Ryder, Mark Metcalf, and O.C. Oleka. The latest results on those: Mark Metcalf with 52% of the vote, Andrew Cooper-Ryder with 24%, and O.C. Oleka falling behind with 24% of that vote. And again, same scenario. The Democrat candidate that's advanced to the general election is Michael Bowman. And then we have the state auditor's race, of course. Allison Ball and Derek Leonard Pettis. They're running in the Republican primary. Here's the results so far with that. Ball at 76% and Pettis with 24% of the total vote. Democrat Kimberly Reeder will automatically advance to the general election. Now, another race that is running uncontested on both parties is State Attorney General. Russell Coleman, he'll be the Republican candidate, and Pamela Stevenson will be the Democratic candidate. And once again, those candidates will face off in the general election, which is slated for November 7th. Reporting in studio, I'm Brennan Crane, WBKO News.
Thank you, Brennan. We now go to Derek Parham in Allen County as voters focus on the wet-dry decision. Derek?
Hey there, Gene. Polls have officially closed here in Allen County, and all signs point to that wet-dry decision being a very close race. Now, over 35% of Allen County voters showed up to the polls today, but we are still waiting on those final results. Absentee ballots and early voter results should be in the next hour or so, but again, we will be waiting on today's in-person voters until probably around 8:30. Now, I'll be back around 8:30 on Facebook Live for any updates that we do have, but for now, live in Allen County, I'm Derek Parham, WBKO News. Over to you, Allie.
Thanks, Derek. Well, don't forget, we'll be providing updates throughout the evening on those election results. So be sure to check our website, WBKO.com, and you can download that free WBKO News app as well. Now at 6, the family of Ayanna Morgan is remembering their beloved daughter and granddaughter days after she was shot and killed in Bowling Green. And Crime Stoppers need your help finding this man who was wanted in connection to Ayanna's murder. We'll give you the latest information tonight. We've got some extreme heat heading our way this week. Experts share how you can keep yourself and your furry friends cool as your News at 6 starts now.
From WBKO News, local, first, now. This is WBKO News at 6.
So many people are just touching base with us, telling them how they love her and how she was so good to them, and we're getting so many people.
Good evening, I'm Allie Hennard. The family of a slain WKU student, Ayanna Morgan, came to our studio today to speak about her and the profound feeling of loss her family is going through. Late Sunday evening, Morgan was shot multiple times at the Muse apartment complex on Russellville Road. She was airlifted to a hospital in Nashville, where she later passed away Monday morning. There is currently an active warrant for the murder of Ayanna issued against Malik Jones. The family remembers Ayanna as full of promise and how proud they were of her.
She was on the right track. She was doing everything that she was supposed to do. She had a promising future. I always told her how very proud I am. I told her, you are way ahead of the game, and we're just so proud of you.
The family hopes that her killer is quickly brought to justice.
Our whole family is shattered to pieces. No one can understand, and it doesn't need to happen again. We need somebody to help us to get justice for our baby.
WKU is planning a candlelight vigil for Ayanna next month. And police are looking for that man wanted for the murder of Ayanna Morgan, and they are asking for your help finding him. And that's tonight's Crime of the Week. The Bowling Green Police Department is needing your assistance in locating Malik Jones. Jones has an active warrant for his arrest. He is 6 foot tall and approximately 140 pounds. Jones is considered armed and dangerous. Police say do not approach him. If you know of Jones' location, please contact Crime Stoppers or call the police at 911 or 270-393-4000. Crime Stoppers will pay you cash for your information. If you have information about this crime or any other crimes, you can call the South Central Kentucky Crime Stoppers at 781-CLUE or visit their website at 781clue.org. You can also download their P3 Tips app for your mobile device. They will pay you cash for your information. Firefighters continue to battle the Natural Bridge fire. The fire has burned more than 100 acres and is 45% contained. Wildland firefighters are utilizing the skylift to get to that fire. Mike McMillan with the U.S. Forest Service said this is one of the most complex wildfires that he has been on in recent years. He captured this video as firefighters battled the Natural Bridge fire. All trails at the park are closed, but trails in the Red River Gorge are open.
Have to navigate very dense, thick fuels and cliffs, so they're not able to make a continuous control line. They have to go around the rim rock on trails and utilize the trails as control lines. We're trying to engage the fire as safely as possible, but the weather is not making that easy.
And David, the weather this week has been nice, but as you know, we all just saw there, it's also causing wildfires in our region. Normally, we see lots of rain and storms this time of year, you know, but why is it so incredibly dry right now?
Well, it has to do with our overall weather pattern, which has been very unique as of late. A lot of times we get those colder shots of air to come on in from the east, and when you look at this graphic behind us here, it is all thanks to the division between high and low pressure, and right in between we have this river of air here. That is the jet stream, and it separates that warmer and that colder air. It also is kind of the driving force. It's like a roadway for storm systems. So the more active weather will stay farther to our north, and when you're under high pressure, that means that you are typically going to be dealing with some quieter weather overall. And right now, yeah, you can see the storms further to our west and further to our north, and for us right now in Kentucky, we are dealing with those mainly dry conditions. And it's also the humidity levels. The moisture in the atmosphere is just lacking in general. Normally across the mid and deep south, we have a lot of humidity in the air no matter what time of year it is. But when you see these numbers, they're called the dew points. And basically what you need to know about this is that the lower this number is, the lower the moisture in the atmosphere. And you can actually see even all the way down into Florida, where it's often very humid. If you've ever been to Florida, you know how that is.
Just got back from Florida.
Yeah, the bigger moisture levels are actually into Texas and Oklahoma right now. Some of that's starting to come our way, but we've just been in a very, very dry weather pattern. And in terms of precipitation, yeah, we've just been without it.
Well, you can feel the dryness in the air when you walk outside. I mean, if you're a woman, you can feel that when you know, your hair, it's not,
Sure.
you know, the humidity is not affecting that. So is this going to be any indication of a drier summer coming in the, you know, coming months?
No, it actually doesn't appear so. And what we're looking at here, this area in green across Kentucky is indicating wetter than normal conditions expected for the summer season. That's from the Climate Prediction Center. They are a little bit smarter than me when it comes to the real long-term forecasting, but they seem to indicate, yeah, wetter than normal conditions. But that does not mean we will not go stretches of very dry conditions. But when it rains, when we get some of those wetter periods, they could be a little bit wetter than normal. So it's we've had some very interesting weather over the last several years here, and it's just Mother Nature kind of doing her thing.
Playing tricks on us as
It
usual.
really is.
Well, thanks, David, for the insight. Well, as a result of this dry weather here in Warren County today and tomorrow, city officials have released a burning restriction. Now, what that means is county residents are to refrain from any outdoor burning, including lighting fireworks. Right now, this again is only for today, April 19th, and tomorrow, the 20th.
From WBKO News, local, first, now. This is WBKO News at 6.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Allie Hennard. You may be wondering where Gene Burke is. Gene has been checking out all the fun happening in downtown Bowling Green and joins us live with an update on what's happening now. And he's got a familiar face joining us now, and he's at the Duncan Hines Days activities downtown Bowling Green. Gene, what's going on there?
Well, like you said, we have got the man. This is Mr. Duncan Hines. Thank you, sir, for being with us tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Buck. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I want to talk about how this got started. You started out basically as a restaurant critic going across the country.
Actually, before that, I was a traveling salesman. So when I was putting 40,000, 60,000 miles a year, running up and down the road, driving to basically doing a traveling salesman gig, I was eating in a lot of restaurants. So I kept a little notebook, and in that notebook I had the places I would recommend to people to eat. And that I turned into a guidebook, that Adventures in Good Eating, that people always wanted to have a copy of, because they never knew what they were going to run into. I mean, at that period of time, most people quote me as saying that at those first few decades of the 20th century, more people died from hit and miss dining than hit and run driving.
I get it. Okay, by the way, I don't know if I'd have shared with the world that you were a traveling salesman, but anyway, what are some of the things you're doing here this week?
Oh, well, here shortly I'm going to be riding the trolley around downtown, talking to good folks here in Bowling Green, getting them acquainted with my history and growing up around here. There's lots of sites that are around downtown that are associated with me. And we'll be doing that. And then also on the rail car, we'll have the Dining with Duncan Hines. We've got lunch with me tomorrow, and I'll tell a little bit about my history. And then dinner tomorrow night, and then another lunch there on Saturday.
Okay. What does it mean to you, Mr. Hines, to have this kind of celebration?
Oh, a simple fellow like me. I was born here in 1880, and I lived out on a farm over in Browning and was a traveling salesman. It was late in life before I even became famous and became known as the Duncan Hines on the cake mixes and brownie mixes. So this is quite an honor to have a festival named after me, and I do highly recommend that you join in the fun if you haven't been able to yet.
Absolutely. Well, before we go, I want people to know who you are really. This is Jeff Moore, a great actor and director from right here in Bowling Green, and you have taken this role to heart.
Yes, I have. This was my COVID project. So we were closed up our theaters, so I said, well, what stories are there to tell? And I got to know Mr. Hines fairly well.
Well, Duncan literally has a train to catch, so we thank you for your time, sir.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Book, and have a great evening.
Thank you. You too. That's it for us from Franklin, from Fountain Square Park for Duncan Hines Days.
Thank you, Gene. Jeff Moore there as Duncan Hines. Incredible all of the knowledge he has of the man who was born right here in Bowling Green. Now we'll go to our chief meteorologist, David Walter, who also is live at